We are live. Let's roll, baby. A special Saturday edition of New York, New York via YouTube, via Twitter Spaces, here, there, and everywhere after a monstrous Saturday in the big city. It's JJ John Jastrzemski. And I'll say this right out of the gate from a New York Knicks perspective. The Knicks, to me, on Saturday night in their 113-102 win over the Atlanta Hawks, I didn't get the sense the Knicks played their A game by any stretch of the imagination. This did not come to me as one of these quintessential, virtuoso, soup to nuts, start to bottom, top to finish, exemplary Knick effort. I didn't get that sense. They got an all-world first quarter out of Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson was absolutely amazing. Atlanta was able to counter based upon what C.J. McCollum was able to give them. In many ways, it felt like the Knicks should have been up by more going into the locker room than what they were. But they did a tremendous job on the glass. You know that's a hallmark in the calling card of this team. And you know Brunson in these big games is going to be up to the challenge, is going to be able to meet the moment. There were frustrations. Listen, first half of this game, I'm wondering where Karl-Anthony Towns is going to be. Where is that unbelievable pick and roll that we saw throughout the final 2 or 3 weeks of the regular season? But this is where you got to give credit where credit is due to Karl-Anthony Towns. Karl-Anthony Towns, in the fourth quarter of this game, came alive in a big way. Listen, the shooting percentage is not going to wow you, 6 of 13. But you notice the three-point shot came alive. He ends up with 25 points. He's playing super aggressively and fed off the energy, the excitement, the vibe out at Madison Square Garden. I would look at today as a positive from the Karl-Anthony Towns standpoint. Look at the Knicks stat sheet in this game. They got an okay game out of Bridges. They got an okay game out of Josh Hart. They got a real good game, I'd say, out of Anunoby, who was very, very active and was very, very good in the second quarter. He was 6 of 9 from the field. He ended up with 19 points. He goes to get you the 8 boards. You know Anunoby's going to bring it defensively. Listen, Anunoby, when he's right and he's alongside the big two, it's transformational for the Knicks. Absolutely, positively transformational for the Knicks. But it didn't feel like, wow, you're watching the very best of this team. Am I missing something here? Because I don't think I am. I did not get the sense that this was, wow, the best the Knicks can play. And they won the game going away. That, to me, is a great, great sign for this team throughout the rest of this series. And I would make the argument it is a great, great sign for them for the rest of this postseason. Based upon what I saw from Atlanta, did Atlanta in game one look like a team that's going to go and make this a lengthy series? I don't know about you. They did not look like a team to me that was going to go and make this a lengthy series. They got a monster game out of McCollum. I mean, can CJ McCollum, in all honesty, play any better than he did in game one? He was over 50% from the field. He went and gave him 26 points. He kept Atlanta literally in the game in the first half. He gave him 26. Johnson was okay. He gave him 23. He was 50% from the field. He was okay. Didn't wow you. Didn't necessarily impact the game where it was like, wow, you're really concerned about Jalen Johnson. Okongwu was active early and it fell apart late in the game. But watching the Hawks, there was nothing about the Hawks in game one that scared the crap out of me. Got to be honest. Watching Atlanta, there was nothing that said to me, oh my goodness, this team is a problem. Oh my goodness. This is going to be a lengthy series. Like, let's take it back a year, shall we? A year ago, when the Knicks played Detroit, and they ended up winning game one, That was a scary game one. That was a game one you saw and you're like, oh boy. Knicks were outplayed for 3 quarters. It required Cam Payne shooting his ass off in the fourth quarter to go and get you the W. And then the Knicks proceeded to go and lose game 2. This didn't feel like that. This felt comfortable. Am I right or am I wrong? This felt like, hey, Knicks are in control of this game. From the way Brunson set the tone early to the way the game evolved, there was never a moment for me, honestly, gang, where I felt like the Knicks were in trouble. Never a moment. And it wasn't their best. That's the crazy thing. So they played a B- C+ game and won comfortably. Is it okay now to look at the remainder of this series saying, you know what? Maybe Atlanta's not as scary as I thought they might be going into this? Yes. Yes. That is the proclamation I am willing to make. Atlanta does not look as big, bad, and as scary as I thought they were going to be. Brilliant early start from Brunson. Great finish from Cat. You got great fourth quarter minutes out of Deuce McBride, too, which you should not overlook in any way because we've been wondering what Deuce is going to bring this team. Great on the glass. They did a better job in the second half at taking care of the basketball, and that ended up being the difference. So the Knicks go and win game 1 of this series, and I picked the Knicks to win at 6. Can I get a little bit of a mulligan? I like this series to go 5. There is nothing I saw from Atlanta that will lead me to believe they're winning multiple games in this series. I don't think I'm overreacting. I don't think I'm putting the cart before the horse. There is absolutely nothing that I saw from Atlanta that would say, yeah, they're pushing this to a 7th game, and yeah, they're really going to make the Knicks sweat. I don't see it. So that's what we have going on as far as the Knicks are concerned. B- game, good enough to win by double digits, fine by me. Now, big trade. The Giants say sayonara to Dexter Lawrence. And I was of the mindset that it would hurt this Giant team trading Sexy Dexy. I was not in love with the idea. I said, well, how are you going to replace him? Nobody put on my bingo card the Giants are going to get a top 10 pick. Wait, did anybody have the Giants getting a top 10 pick from the Cincinnati Bengals? Because I sure as hell did not. I'm thinking, hey, it's going to be a late first. Maybe it's going to be a second 4, whatever it might be. They got a top 10 pick. They played to the desperation of the Cincinnati Bengals. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Cincinnati's got to win with Joe Burrow. They just lost Trey Hendrickson. They need an elite-level defensive player. Amazing. Now the Giants are set up to go and get themselves 2 bona fide, legitimate cornerstone players within the top 10. And I know some people say, oh, JJ, you can't get a guy as good as Dexter Lawrence. Well, Dexter Lawrence didn't want to be here. So John Harbaugh said, you know what? You don't want to be here? Kick rocks. I'm getting a top 10 pick. I'm building my infrastructure. Now, I'm giving every Giant fan a little salvo here. Do not take Jeremiah Love with one of those 2 top picks. Don't do it. You don't need a running back. Load up on your defense. If that's Styles and Downs, great. If it's Styles and a pass rusher, great. If it's Downs and a pass rusher, great. Do not find yourself in a position where you're taking a running back. I do not need Saquon Barkley PTSD part 2. I don't need it. I don't need it. But if I'm a Giant fan and I was maybe nervous about the idea of losing Dexter Lawrence, those concerns should be subsided dramatically with the notion that now you have a top 10 pick that has been added to the equation. All right, I see you guys. I welcome you guys. We lead it off. My main man, Mo. Mo, it is a pleasure to see you. Welcome to the show. How you doing?
Hey, JJ, how you doing?
I'm doing great. It's good seeing you, Mo.
Yes.
I'm in good spirits. Correct me if I'm wrong. That was a B- effort from the Knicks, and they won going away. You got to make you feel good, does it not?
I think it was a B- offensive game for the Knicks. I thought it was an A+ defensive performance by their
Fair.
team.
That's a fair counter. They played and brought it defensively.
And
Excellent
also,
play.
JJ, on the fact that you're talking about like the Hawks, I think the thing about the Hawks, JJ, that doesn't put any fear in my heart is Jalen Johnson is fine, great player. There's no offensive firepower on that team that scares me. I mean, Dyson Daniels, JJ, is an offensive disaster. That guy is terrible, on offense at least. Great defensive player, but leaving him wide open does not bring any fear to me at all. When you're basically your number one offensive option coming down the stretch of CJ McCollum at age 33, 34, it doesn't really put a lot of like scare in your heart, you know? So I completely agree with you that this Hawks team is super limited on the offensive end, and it just makes, the Knicks firepower on offense, it's just going to be too much for Atlanta to like kind of
The Knicks
counter.
have too many answers. I
They
mean, Mo, let's
do.
just think about this for a minute. You got Brunson cooking early. Obviously, he was on a heater to start the game. Then you have Anunoby, who really carried you in the second quarter, and I thought he had some really good minutes. And then the frustration, you heard it from the Amazon guys at halftime, and you could kind of feel it. You're like, hey, when is Cat going to get going? You had a couple of silly fouls. You see these shooting percentages are ugly. But this is where you got to give him credit. He kind of was persistent. He kept chugging along. He kept trucking. And in the fourth quarter of the game, he started hitting the outside shot. He fed off the Gordon crowd, and he played his ass off in the fourth quarter.
He
really
was
did.
incredible in the fourth, and also Mikal played okay too. Josh was Josh. Josh he was doing his thing, but in general, like again, you just kind of want to get out of this, and I don't want to jump to conclusions here. I really don't, and I'm not this type of guy. I'm very pessimistic. Like when Atlanta was making those 3 to 4 threes in the end of the game, it definitely it gets you like.
Well, you know what it
whoa.
is, Mo? There's a lot of PTSD for Knick fans after what happened with that Pacer game last
The
year. I get
Neesmith
it.
thing was
'Cause
in
you know
your
what?
head.
I was even thinking the same thing. Not that I thought Atlanta was going to come back and win the
Right.
game, but I'm like, really? Are we going to have another one of these games? Because I want to
Yeah.
start the stream. I'm ready to go here. Let's go.
Yeah, like I was like, okay, let's come. How about we not do illegal screens and turn the ball over for the last 2 minutes of the game? But I'm glad that it worked out okay.
But bottom line, Mo, like, I don't know how you felt going into the series. I thought the Knicks would win. I never thought it would get to a seventh game. My initial prediction was 6. After watching game 1, I think I might have given the Hawks a little too much credit. That's kind of my feeling.
I just think that like when you're, now I thought it was gonna go 5 or 6 too. I mean, I definitely feel a little different now that I see. When you watch the Hawks offense, it's just not. It leaves a lot to be desired, JJ. Like he just
Well, and
does.
Mo, you're not wrong about that. Excellent call. Great start. Bottom line, Hawks don't have enough firepower to go win the series. But the fact is, if the Knicks are the team that everybody expects them to be, myself included, that's a legitimate, bona fide threat to go and get to an NBA final, there should be no stress with Atlanta in round 1. Am I right or am I wrong? No stress. We head to Woodside. The great Charlie is up next. Charlie, take it away.
Hey, what's up, JJ? What's going on?
Charlie, always a pleasure. It's great to see you. What's going on?
Oh, it's all big Nick energy, man. Finally, the playoffs are here. The Garden energy, just like this was a great start to the playoffs. Like you said, like I think it was a B type of performance from this team. Like turned the ball over at times, but Brunson cooked early, and we know early on, like Towns not be able to start well, but I thought he imposed this well on the defensive side. He was hanging around. Then
Charlie, play with some balls. Did he not? He played with some balls.
Yes,
and we respect that.
Absolutely. He fed off that Garden energy. I feel like one thing about Atlanta that I was really, really confident about is Towns. Like in terms of size wise, this is the kind of type of series Karl Anthony Towns can dominate, because size wise match, they don't have a good matchup. And once he gets his outside shot on, that opens up the paint. That opens up the inside. So this is the type of game I think Towns could, elevate it more. And you got to get encouraged Josh Hart too, not in terms of stat sheet wise, but he was active on some of the defensive possession that led to a lot of fast break points. That really, in terms that
Well,
statistic
Charlie,
wise,
that's a great point because Atlanta wants to play fast. That's the big theme of this series, correct? Like Atlanta, hey, they want to play fast, and the Knicks are a team that wants to slow it down a little bit. The Knicks were able to go and take the Hawk game and say, hey, guess what? You want to go and play fast? We're going to go and beat you in transition. We're going to go get it up and down that floor. And to that point, that's entirely on Josh Hart because Josh Hart gets the Knicks into transition better than anybody on this team. No doubt about it.
Yes, and I think also in terms of bench wise, I mean, like Clarkson give you a couple minutes, good minutes in the fourth quarter, and I think for Deuce Smith to hit those couple of threes in that fourth quarter, in terms of confidence wise going forward, that's going to be huge going forward. And I hope this team. I think we may, I just want to go game by game. I know kind of like proclaiming like, this can be a short series and anything. I like to make this team short, make it a short series, but it's all about game by game for me. Let's take
Sure,
care of
I
game
gotta let
two.
you go here. Connection was getting a little wonky. We'll get you back in. But listen, got out in transition. Big start from Brunson. Then it's Cat. B minus effort from the Knicks. That's what I saw today. B minus effort, and they won the game convincingly. Great sign. I know this guy's going to be fired up. Giants made a very nice trade today. I think I just got booted from the stage, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Hey, can't even blame me. Sometimes your internet goes out. I don't know what the hell happened there. So let's try that again. Briley, I got you now. I know you got to be stoked about this Giant trade.
JJ, I am really stoked about this Giants trade. I said going since this news broke a week ago, I think. I wouldn't have sold anything less than a first round pick. I could not have hoped and imagined in my wildest dreams that they could have gone another top 10 pick.
Top 10 pick, Brett.
Yeah,
nobody had them
absolutely.
getting a top 10 pick out of
Yep.
this. Nobody.
Yep. Nobody. I thought at best late 20s to between 25 and 30, and maybe like a third to get back from the Jackson Dart trade last year. But I couldn't even imagine them getting the 10th pick. That brings into like you now can bring in two cornerstone pieces to help Harbaugh in his team year one. Yes, of course, the interior of the defensive line, it takes a big hit, no doubt about it. That's an area that's gonna have to be fixed up at some point. But they also saved like 18, like just almost 19 million in cap relief too with this move too. It's a salary dump also. And listen, we just had to see the writing on the wall. Dex just was not happy anymore being here. He just wanted out, and whatever reasons it was, it just he just didn't want to be a part of it.
Well, that's
and,
the bottom line to me,
yeah.
Bradley. Listen, I wanted Dexter Lawrence here.
Yeah.
I was underwhelmed by his performance last year. I think we well documented that throughout the year. I didn't think Dexy had a vintage Dexter Lawrence type of season. Fine. That's on record. We can acknowledge that. I thought he'd be a big part of this thing with John Harbaugh.
Same.
So the fact that he's basically like, hey, get me out of here. Okay, you reach a point where the organization where you're like, listen, we've already paid this guy. Now he wants more money. He didn't have a great year. I can get a top 10 pick in return. You know what? Thanks for the memories. You're not a quarterback. You're replaceable.
He's replaceable.
I like Lawrence, but he's replaceable. Is he not?
He is. And like you said too, this past season, half a sack, like 15 total tackles or something like that, 20 tackles. The only highlight that he had this past year was that tip ball, interception against the Chargers. That was like his only big highlight of the year. And you just got paid. You just got that money extension started in 2024, and now you want more money. I understand he's like when he's on his game, he's one of the best defensive line in the game right now. But like, it's not the right time to get the money from the Giants at this point. If he was still here, I would have told him like, hey, give me another year, prove it. We'll talk about extension next year. But it is what it is, and I'm thrilled with the Giants. Now we are Knicks. I'm of the same mindset. I thought going to the series, it was going to go 6 games. I have changed my tune. I think this is going to go 5 games. I think this is going to go 5 games. And if we can get Karl Anthony Towns to play like he did in that fourth quarter, like that's what they need from him, like throughout this series and throughout this postseason. Rather, they
Entire
need
postseason.
the
Such a
whole
great point,
postseason.
Brad. Not
Yeah.
just this series. You need that level of intensity from Cat throughout, where he's fearless, he's playing with chutzpah, he's not afraid to not only take it to the rack, but to go and knock down the outside shot with some consistency. And I also thought he brought it defensively. Look, I'm not pretending that Karl Anthony Towns is Bill Russell now. He's not. But if he can give that sort of effort on defense, which I think was pretty obvious over the final 2 or 3 months of the year that you were getting that from Karl Anthony Towns, that's a great sign for the Knicks. Atlanta did not scare you at all. I mean, let's be honest. They got all they could hope for out of a guy like McCollum, right? Jalen Johnson had a good game, and yet they still lost convincingly.
Yeah,
I wouldn't feel good.
How many more games is McCollum even going to have, like the rest of this, series? I mean, come on. I mean, that probably was like his best performance of the series in all likelihood. I mean, but yeah, I think it's going to be a short series. Definitely got a lot. I thought Deuce McBride had a really good game too.
Couple of big points in the fourth quarter too. Really came alive.
Absolutely.
You know, like in that fourth quarter where it was kind of like the moment with Cat and Brunson on the bench. Hey, how is this game going to swing? You go and hit a couple of threes there. It kind of it gives you some wiggle room. It gives you some maneuverability. Precisely. And look, there's a great question about Deuce McBride when it comes to conditioning, when it comes to what kind of shape he's in. Like you want any positive you could get out of Deuce. So that's a really, really good sign.
Absolutely. JJ, this was fun. I'm so happy for you and this new chapter in your career. Hope to get to talk to you again during the draft. We will talk again after, hopefully game 2.
No question. We'll be here after every one of these games, or we'll be here late after the draft.
Yes.
So what's the dream draft for you? Is it the 2 Ohio State boys? Do you want a wide receiver? What's the dream Bradley draft?
The dream draft for me, Sonny Styles at 5, and now that they got the 10th pick, Jordan Tyson, the receiver from Arizona State University. You get the receiver. We don't know how long it's going to take for Neighbors to get back. We hope, God willing, he's back week 1. If he's not, you have the second weapon for Jackson Dart with Jordan Tyson. Go get him. That is a phenomenal picks, in my opinion, for the Giants on Thursday night. That's my best case scenario.
Listen, I think that's a good parting thought, Bradley. Appreciate it. You tell me the Giants end up with one of those defensive studs and a wide receiver, I'm on board. I, for one, like that a lot more than the idea of Love. And I know Love is great. I'm not trying to say he's not. The Giants don't need to take a running back in the top 10. They don't. Maybe this is Saquon PTSD. Maybe this is just me being very stuck in my ways where I just have a major, major problem investing that sort of resource into that position. I just don't like it. And you do know now, in the absence of Dexter Lawrence, you're going to have to fill a need on the inside. Now, did the Giants look to do that via free agency? Perhaps. I don't get the sense that you're going to see the Giants now all of a sudden go and take a defensive tackle within the first 10 picks of the draft. Wide receiver now, I think, is definitely on the table. Some are going to make the argument running backs on the table. See, it's funny. Bradley drew up his dream Giant draft that way. I would draw it up with the 2 Ohio State boys. Now, I don't know how plausible, feasible, reasonable this might be. Is there a world where the Giants can go and get Sonny Styles and Caleb Downs and have both of those guys as fixtures on the defense? Because for me, at least, that's kind of where I'm at. That's how I want to see the infrastructure built back up. You could talk me into a wide receiver. You're going to have a really, really hard time talking me into Jeremiah Love. And I want to make something perfectly clear. This is not an anti-Jeremiah Love take in any way. Like, I think he's a tremendous player. I really do. I don't want to, just crap on the running back. I just think it's the wrong pick at the wrong time for the Giants. I think they're A-okay in that running back room. They're A-okay. And if you look back at last year and why the team went in the tank the way that they did was about their defense, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. How many collapses in the fourth quarter? How many times were they unable to go and get themselves a stop? That, to me, is way more problematic. Way, way, way more problematic. But those three top receivers, all very much in play now. And I think the argument for going and getting one of those guys, and this is what you would talk yourself into if you're a Giant fan, is, hey, I really like Malik Neighbors. He's awesome. But correct me if I'm wrong. Malik Neighbors missed a lot of football the last 2 years, has he not? He has. Can you say with certainty going into next year, you're getting 16 or 17 games out of Neighbors? Because I can't. So if the Giants go and say, hey, guess what? We're not going to be in that position again at wide receiver. We're not going to be there again. We're going to have two young studs, and we're going to have Isaiah Likely, and you're going to have a really, really hard time guarding us. It's worthwhile. It's definitely something you can convince me on. But I think the Likely addition helps you in that regard. And your defense, say what you want about the return for Dexter Lawrence, which to me is a good return. It's a good return. Got a top 10 pick in the draft. That's great. It's absolutely amazing. Still have to replace him. So it doesn't have to be as simplistic as, hey, defensive tackle, plug and play. That's who we're taking with one of our 2 first-round picks. No. But it's rebranding and remaking the defense. So Styles and Downs, all of a sudden now it's like, whoa. That is what you would call a major infusion of talent. And it would be pretty wild to go and basically have 2 of the Ohio State boys and say, hey, guess what? We're putting both of these guys on our team. Now, to Bradley's point, this is from Garafolo, and Rappaport's all over it. Joe Shane flew to Arizona to attend Jordan Tyson's workout yesterday. And he also had dinner with Tyson the night before. So that opens the door to the Giants going and getting themselves a wide receiver. Fine. I don't think it's outrageous. I think it's very, very debatable what you end up doing. Wide receiver, 2 defensive players, fine. What to me is not debatable is the idea of adding a running back into this room. And yeah, I don't give a rat's ass that I have Saquon Barkley PTSD. This Giant team is not a running back away from, boom, being an instant Super Bowl contender. That's basically the way I look at that position. That's the way I look at that position. Where I'm like, hey, guess what? You're running back away. Go and get him. I felt that with Baltimore. Now, Baltimore had to go and pay for Derrick Henry. And I know Baltimore hasn't won, right? Like, they haven't won. But they looked at their situation. They said, you know what? Derrick Henry, we're going to pay him a lot of money. We're going to invest the resources because he can go and maybe take us over the top. Giants are not at that point as a franchise. The Eagles were. They made the Super Bowl 2 years before getting Saquon. They said Saquon can take us to a place that we can't currently achieve. And we have everything else in order. Our defense is in order. We brought in Fangio. We have all these weapons. We're golden. Just go and get the running back, and it's going to take us over the top. And the reason the Eagles won the Super Bowl 2 years ago is, one, they added Vic Fangio, which transformed their defense, and then they go and add Saquon Barkley, which transformed their offense. So This is not disparaging the running back position. This is not to say, hey, running backs don't matter. No, they can matter. But I want to build the right way if I'm Harbaugh. Let's get the body of work of this football team exactly where it needs to be before we're taking top 5 picks and investing in a running back. That's me. I hope the Giants listen. That's my biggest piece of advice to the Giants on draft night. And it's funny, Joe Shane's going to meet with Tyson, the Arizona State kid. Kind of get the sense Joe Shane is basically being told what to do by John Harbaugh. That this is not a situation where, hey, Joe Shane is running the show like he did a couple of years ago. Giants try to spin it any which way they like. They may say, hey, it's collaborative effort. Joe, of course, has say. Of course, he has some sort of control. This is the John Harbaugh show. John Harbaugh is going to get exactly what he wants with these 2 first-round picks. This might be the last ever head coaching job he ever has in his life. I think if Harbaugh draws it up a certain way, it is the last head coaching job he ever has in his life. Gut right now, kind of think you're getting one of Styles or Downs with that top 5 pick. That's my feeling. I think you get one of those 2 guys. What they do with the second pick, that's anybody's guess. And that's where you're going to have all sorts of information and all sorts of smoke and all sorts of this, that, and the other over the next 4 to 5 days. So what we're going to try to do is try to decipher what makes sense, what doesn't make sense. And hopefully come Thursday, we feel much better about, okay, this is who the Giants are going to go and draft. Try to talk to our people. Now we got a second first-round pick at our disposal. I love it. It makes draft day. Hey, listen, you can always count on this with New York football. As crummy as it might be throughout the regular season, and it is incredibly crummy, like absolutely positively atrocious. We've had a lot of fun draft days. We have. We've had a lot of fun draft days because we've had plenty of years, and we have another one here in 2026 where the Giants and the Jets have collective 4 picks within the first round. I know it's going to make for a great show for us on Thursday night, combined with the fact that we have a New York Knicks Game 3 down in Atlanta, which hopefully will be a nice 2-0 spot against the Atlanta Hawks. And we could go about our merry way. I wasn't planning on doing much baseball on this show. We're going to save that for Sunday when we put up our pod. Are the Mets ever going to win a game? I mean, in all honesty, are the Mets ever going to win a game? Now, full disclosure, this was a day for me where I was out and about. We had the baby's first birthday party. We had the christening. So I was not dialed into baseball. I'll be the first to tell you that. And I'll get the crash course. Literally, I was able to walk in my door 5 minutes before the Knicks game got started, which was an absolute thing of beauty. And the timing could not have been more just amazing, to say the least. But the Mets are the prototypical bad team at the moment. They hit, they don't pitch. They pitch, they don't hit. 10 in a row. 10 in a row. After all the changes they made in the offseason. It's not to say the season is over. It's not. Yes, there's a lot of baseball left to be played. You did not, under any circumstance, think when the changes were made in the offseason, this would be the way the season would start. And I did bet the Mets today. What an idiotic decision that was. I did. I have now bet them twice in this 10-game losing skid, in case you're wondering. Because I see one of the comments asking me, did I bet the Mets today? Yes, I bet the Mets today. Thought it'd be one of those. You put it in the holster. Maybe it ends up being a win, and then we can roll it into the Knicks game. Nope. Nope. Dumb enough to bet the Mets for the second time in 4 days. Thankfully, I didn't bet them with Senga. I thought about it, and I kind of allowed common sense to prevail, which I'm very, very proud of myself for. But I can't be so proud of myself for where we are right now. 10 games in a row for the Mets. 10 in a row. Yikes. But we got to rock and roll, man. It is, I think, one of my favorite times of the year in New York sports. When you have the Knicks basically playing every other night, which we will. Hopefully, this is going to be a very lengthy, fun, entertaining playoff run. That combined with baseball every night, and then you throw in the draft. Weather's getting nicer. Saturday was one of those quintessential perfect spring days because it was a little too hot this week. It's amazing you go from winter to summer. That's basically the New York spring in a nutshell. So to get a day where it was actually in the mid-60s was like fantastic. And you know the Knicks are playing later. And it wasn't their best. I don't know how anybody could sit there and watch that Knicks game today and say, yeah, the Knicks, that was the best this team can be. I don't feel that way. Thought they were sloppy early. I thought it took way too long to get Karl Anthony Towns going. Took a while to get the bench involved. Yet it still was good enough against this Atlanta team. Make this an easy series. The biggest piece of advice I can give the Knicks as we move forward here over the next few days, and we'll have a show tomorrow. We'll have a show after game one. We'll be rocking game two. Game one, game two. Semantics. You know what I'm talking about. Monday night. Don't let this series get back for a sixth or seventh game. Take no prisoners. Assert your will. Don't have a repeat of what we saw last year in the Detroit series, where it is a full-fledged war in round one. And look, the Knicks survived that last year. They ended up winning the second round series against the Celtics. So you can't say that there was necessarily like a negative trickle-down effect. There wasn't. But if you want to get to mid-June playing basketball, you don't want wars in the first round. It's not advantageous. This wasn't a war in game one. This is pretty comfortable. Let's hope the rest of this series continues to be pretty comfortable. That's going to do it for our first New York Saturday live stream. We'll be back in 24 hours with the pod. Pleasure as always. Hope everybody enjoys their Saturday. JJ out. Be good, everybody.